So, when a narcissist plays to your empathy to try and get you either to hoover you back or to get you to stop accusing them of something or talking to them about something they don't want to talk about, or just to get away with something, right? When they play to your empathy, sometimes they use a pity ploy. They are trying to make you well, they're trying to manipulate you to either feel sorry for them, take them back, stop being upset with them to get away with something they've done. And it often works. So pay attention, because when a narcissist is someone you believe is a narcissist in your life, and they do all the other things that are manipulating and controlling and gaslighting and all that other stuff that is so un relatable, so to speak, right? For lack of a better word. What am I trying to say here? They may look, when they're giving a pity ploy, like they suddenly have empathy, like they have concern, like their feelings are finally being talked about. Let's go into it a little bit deeper and talk about what the pity ploy is, why it works, how it works, and hopefully get you to understand that gray rock is kind of the only way to deal with them, kind of ever. So, a pity ploy really is a form of gaslighting. They're trying to use your sympathies, your empathy, your compassion as a tool to manipulate things so they get their way. All right. They play on your empathy. They make you feel safe and close, and then they sabotage you. They anything that brings you closer to them in a way that, like, they look like the wounded child or a wounded animal or wounded human, whatever. They look sad, they look pathetic, they look pitiable, right? When they're in this mode, they may even claim an illness, or they may threaten self-harm. They may all kinds of things, anything that gets you to pity them. Really, that's what a pity ploy is, and the reason that's a ploy is it's manipulation. They may actually feel that thing, sure, they may be upset, and then they go into victim mode, okay? But they're using victim mode not to pull themselves out of it and be accountable and be adults in the relationship. They're using victim mode to get you to do all the work to fix whatever's going on that's wrong in the relationship. So, they use it a lot in hoovering. "I'm so sorry," you might hear. Well, not everyone hears that, but you might hear, I'm a bad person. I'm not good for anyone. I'm not good in relationships." All these, anything. Let's just keep going, and you'll either get it or you haven't had one, right? Hey, NASS. Uh-oh. So you see, I am doing this under very strained, very rapid, like, I have to go fast because we got someone outside. Shh, Tessa. No. We have someone outside working, and the dogs are not, they may or may not be quiet. So I may have to just end this and call it a day and start over with this another time. So anyway, they play the martyr. Woe is me. You'll see this a lot with narcissistic mothers. Oh my gosh, she's not. This is like Angie and her cat and me and this pup. No, Tessa. Shh. It's a good girl. Quiet. A little bit longer. And anyway, they play the martyr. You'll see this often with narcissistic mothers, where no one in the family wants to talk to me when you've gone no contact with them. "Oh, my children don't even respect me. They don't love me. No one cares about me." You see, anything. Tessa is her name. Yes. um it's Ruby's daughter. So, in case you're following the continuing saga of the little noises that happen when we're live streaming. And yes, and the cat's been asking for attention. It's just that time of year. Everyone's getting the fall is coming, changes in the air. Anyway, um, here's some examples. The woe is me. I do so much. I try so hard. I can't. I try and try and try. I try and try and try. Nothing ever changes. Oh, I give and give and give. Yeah. Uh huh. They. They guilt you. They act as if they share your suffering, and then they make it their suffering. So they may take something, oh my gosh, this is a good one. They may take something that you're feeling. Say you're feeling unheard. Feeling unheard. I'm feeling unheard. And you say it over and over and over again. I'm not feeling heard. Suddenly they're feeling unheard. So they take what's going on with you, project it back onto themselves, and basically steal your thunder, so to speak. They steal your actual feelings, claim them as their own. And then what are you supposed to do? Sit there and not hear them? No, you have to hear them because you're the responsible one in the relationship, right? It's totally absurd. Um, okay. What else do they do? They use, oh, they may even, let's say, what you need to understand with a pity ploy, and when you're getting it in a Hoover, you're often thrown off guard. You haven't talked to them in a while. Your trauma bonds are reignited because you just had contact with them. And suddenly there's the softer side, right? It's the softer side of the narcissist, or the what looks like a vulnerable side. And vulnerability speaks to an empath like their language, right? So they're basically speaking your language, only they're using the pity, they're playing on your ability to take care of people, your ability to care, to connect through these deep vulnerabilities shared. They're making you their therapist, they're making you their confidant, they're making you their mother or father, right? They're turning it in, they're calling on your empathy, awakening it at the same time as you're trauma bonded, and bam, you're falling right into it. So understand, when this is happening, it's not real, guys. You're being manipulated. You're being manipulated. To the second they have you back, they will flip and turn on you. If not the second, within a week, most likely. Okay. um it is fake vulnerability. Yep. Wonder if Renee Ben has anything to say about pity play then. I don't know. I think when people are not dealing directly with this topic of narcissism, and you're talking more in general, it's difficult to equate the two, you know? Yes, you think your mother has done this one, steals other people's problems. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they love to do that, especially the narcissistic mother. They love to flip the script onto themselves, whatever you call that. They turn the spotlight on themselves and steal other people's issues as their own. I can remember hearing things like, "Oh, did you hear about so and so's husband?" when someone's husband was sick or had died or something really awful, right? And then suddenly the narcissist had all these problems. And, it was like, are you kidding me? You just made that about you? And not only that, but you're expecting pity and attention, right? Ugh. All right. It's a guilt trip, guys. It is a guilt trip. Another name for the pity ploy is the guilt trip. And you feel it when it's happening. You feel yourself being guilted. You feel guilty. You feel shame. Here, let's talk about what you might feel. You feel disappointed in them, actually, right? You might feel it's your responsibility or it's your fault, and you don't even know why. You're like, I don't know why I'm saying sorry, but I'm saying sorry. I don't know why I'm trying to fix this, but here I am trying to fix this. Um, you're doing things against your own moral code to placate and take care of the narcissist who is giving you the pity ploy. Your love is in question. You feel like your love is in question if you don't comply with the thing that they need you to comply with, right? You feel like your loyalties are in question when you're in relationship with them. When you're out of it, hopefully you don't have any loyalties left, right? Or love, for that matter. um you can't set boundaries out of fear of the guilt. Like, say a narcissistic mother, say you have very low contact with a narcissistic mother and your or father, and you say, okay, I'll come, I'll see you. I'll say you only call them 2 times a year, and that's your boundary. And you've set that line. It's firm. That's your boundary. That's your low contact. You check in on 2 times a year at 6-month intervals. Period. So you call it the 6-month interval. You have the whatever 10-minute conversation you've set your boundary at, and they then guilt you for having that boundary. They push the line and push the line. Why don't you call me? COVID's going on and I could die, and you don't even care. These are actual things that have been heard by my ears, not my parents, but elsewhere. um, yeah. So the guilt, right? You feel the guilt and you can't maintain your boundary without the feeling of guilt or without being manipulated into having feelings of guilt, right? You might feel obliged to alter your ways or to please them. Um, yeah, especially in a Hoover, or not especially, but often in a Hoover, you might feel obliged and you're going, wait a minute, I should want to be with that person, not be obliged to, but you really feel the pull to, like, I know plenty of people who go back because of a pity ploy. They don't go back into the relationship, they go back into relating to the narcissist. They are friends, quote unquote, right, with the narcissist at this point because the narcissist will pull them back in with a pity ploy. My daughter is having problems with blah blah blah. My grandmother's sick. My this is happening. My cat ran away. Whatever it is, right? And the person will feel obliged. I had one person tell me that their narcissist they've been divorced from fell off a roof, and he comes crawling to her house. Like, why didn't he crawl to the emergency room or urgent care? Why did he crawl to her house? Right? Oh, my back hurts. I fell off the roof, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what are you doing here? And what he's doing there is going, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to go to her house now that my back like fell off a roof. She can't say no to that. And so, what do you do as a good human being? Do you just leave them sitting there potentially injured? Probably not. You get them in your car, you drive them to the urgent care, you drive them to the emergency room, you sit with them. I mean, hopefully you dump their off at the doorway and drive away if that's or you call an ambulance and say, that's your bill now, buddy, not mine. Yeah, that's it. That is what they do though. I mean, they go to extremes sometimes with the pity ploy. They will claim self-harm, they will claim worse, and it isn't your fault. Okay, it's not your responsibility. At that point, all you can do is call crisis center and give them the person's address and hang up because it is not your responsibility what somebody else is doing to their person, right? And it wasn't your fault they're in this position. It's because they have a narcissistic personality disorder that doesn't allow them to take accountability. And yeah, of course they're going to hate themselves inside. Of course they're going to have problems, right? Because they're not taking accountability. You know how hard it is when you do something is wrong and you don't work to fix it. And we all have guilt for things like that. They must have a ton, even though they don't care how it affects other people. They still care how it makes them look. Does that make sense? One thing I'll say, and I want to talk about this more next week, is the narcissist has a delusion of who the mask, right? They have the mask they wear. They not only need the world to believe that mask, they actually often believe that mask. They don't believe it, but they're wearing it long. Like, if I just wear this long enough, it'll be who I am, right? And anything that challenges that mask is a threat. So we'll talk about that, totally off topic, but it's interesting. So, more things. Um, a person who is having the pity ploy used on them may feel responsible for the narcissist's emotional state. Okay, you guys, you're not. Okay, that's the adult who's talking to you's responsibility. And if you're in a relationship with them, unless you are provoking or um, being, manipulative towards someone, is not your responsibility, right? We have to have equal responsibility both for ourselves and for how we treat others, right? And they don't. So you see, it's an unbalanced equation. All right. Is it possible for the pity ploy guilt trip to show up as a narcissistic flea? Absolutely. Yep. Of course. Any trait can be a flea, right? Yeah, it can totally be a flea. I mean, this isn't unique to that was a big sigh, sorry. I'm not tired today. This isn't unique to a narcissist. This is just one tactic they use and something to look out for because it's not something you often see in regular it's not part of the regular, repertoire of a narcissist in their everyday activity for most of them. This is something you might see well, with some very regularly, but with others during a Hoover, during times of where they know they're wrong and then they roll over and play the victim during it. Like it's sort of peppered in and less um, frequently used by a lot of narcissists. So but of course, anyone can pull a guilt trip on someone else, right? And we do. I know, I can't say I'm innocent of that, but it's not done to manipulate. It's usually done out of a trigger happening when it's, by a survivor, or if it's a flea. You have a trigger, you start pulling a pity ploy, you've learned that that works, just not like, oh, I know what's going to work, and you do it. It's sort of automatic. And then you're in it and you're like, oh, I'm acting like this. Oh boy. Okay. And you have to like backtrack and fix it. So does that make sense? That does make sense. The narcissist mask is one of delusion. Yes. Okay. So another thing they might do with the ploy is the silent treatment. They might what happens is that creates a wounded um, victim stance. Does that make sense? They get this wounded victim stance and they go silent. They shut down, so to speak. We all can shut down when we're emotionally being like, like bombarded, right? And but with a narcissist, this is a tactic. They're not doing it because, well, first of all, they might not know what to say, because to say something would be having to take accountability. And they might not know how, so it might be partially um, just natural to go silent, and it works, and they learn it works, and they learn that it punishes, and so they punish with it. But at the same time, they're playing like they're the wounded one. Does that make sense? They play this victim stance, and it causes you at that point to start fawning over them and pleading with them, and then they love that because that puts them in power and control. All right. So another thing is they point out ways that you're not there for them, even if you bend over backward for them. Need I say more to that? Probably not. All right. They bring up their past hurts that have nothing to do with you. See, now here's the thing. All these things that happen here, we can all do. They're doing it to manipulate you to avoid accountability. They're not doing it because they're triggered, so to speak. Oh my gosh, except, oh, here's another one that I used to get all the time from mine. I'm triggered. You triggered me. I'm like, did I? Is that true? I don't think so. I think yes, a little bit, and then mostly no. Because I'm triggered, then take responsibility for that trigger. You know what I mean? I'm triggered, I need a break. I'm triggered, I need some space. I'm triggered, hold me and tell me nice things. I'm triggered, like have a solution. You guys, when we're triggered, we need to learn how to communicate with a healthy partner what that trigger feels like, what happens when you're triggered, and how they can help. It's not their responsibility to fix it. It's not their fault they triggered you unless they did it on purpose because they're toxic, right? Or an accident, right? Like, oops, I accidentally triggered you. But on purpose, the narcissist will do it on purpose. They'll trigger you on purpose and they love it. But if in a healthy relationship, we need to be able to express our triggers, and because we're going to have them, we've had very controlling, manipulative relationships in our life, right? So our brains instantly go into fight flight, and once we're triggered, bam, we're there. It's hard to get out. So we need to have tools that help ourselves, right? And that can take a while, and it can take a learning throughout the early parts of healthy relationship building with someone, how to work with each other in that regard. When a narcissist uses that term, they're throwing the terminology back at you, so that because you as an empathic person go, oh no, they're triggered, I better just do everything to fix it for them. And what they're actually trying to do is get away with something. They're not triggered because you said a word that was exactly what their ex said and it's unfounded. You said a word exactly what their ex said and it's 100% accurate. You cheat. I don't trust you. I think you're cheating. I'm always accused of cheating. I don't cheat. Yeah, except for all the women or men that you've been cheating with, right? So it's to get away with the behavior. Different than is that making sense how it's different? Okay. Okay, so good. So a good antidote to the pity ploy guilt trip, at least for codependent survivors, take on accountability. You mean if you're the one who is got the flea, so to speak? Yes, take on accountability whenever you've got something that is coming out. I mean, take on accountability for your triggers. Take on accountability for your when you see yourself having a flea. Yes, because then you stand up in the face of it, you look at it, you realize, okay, I don't need to be doing that, and you fix it, right? And maybe you can't fix it in the way of like making it go away, but at least you can find healthier ways to communicate with other people so you're not hurting others, right? You may have to go take some time to yourself. You may need to do some of the more shutting down things, and your hopefully your partner can understand that so that they give you the space so that when you come back you're like, hey, I'm back. Oh, that sucked, let's go on with the day, right? And you're not all day long in trigger mode. Okay. Healthy vulnerability is accounting for faults and failings instead of trying not to look weak and blame others. Yes, I like that. That's a really good. That's Brene Brown. Uh-huh. Okay, what are you saying here? One guy I was talking to guilted me about sex when I said no. He said I thought he was repulsive. They will use they will use that too. They will use attraction, intimacy, watching my words here. I don't know what words I'm allowed and what ones I'm not half the time in here. Anyway, they will use that as well. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Another thing, here's my last one. I've given up so much for you. I've changed my life for you. All these years I spent giving to you. That type of thing. That's another one. And yeah, so you guys, when you're having this go on, let's see if I got more on another page here. Nope, that's it. Um, when you have this going on, it's really hard not to fall for it unless you really see what it is. Does that make sense? Because it so quickly plays to your empathy. It's all the words you've wanted to hear. Sometimes it almost sounds like taking accountability, right? I can remember I've hurt you so much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, why are you saying this now? I actually said, why are you saying this now? And that caused a big problem. So yeah. I didn't think this was going to be relevant for me, but it is so on point. He guilted me every one of those ways. Oh, yeah. And there's more ways. Anytime you're feeling guilted and manipulated through that guilt, probably a pity ploy, especially if it's from a narcissist, right? Okay. Anything else? I'm going to head out while my luck of silence around here is just like going my way. Otherwise, anything else? Did I miss any questions? Wounded victim stance, nod. For the narcissist, it's like play dead. Yep. Uh-huh. 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 Did I miss anything? Anybody? No. Okay. Yeah. And I realized I did not post any any alerts that this was going on, and I apologize. It was again one of those, oh look, I have a half an hour, let's go. Um, I wonder if it's projection. The narcs guilt us so they avoid looking weak or vulnerable. Yeah, I think it is that too. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So there's a little bit about the pity ploy. If you're having it happen to you during a Hoover. So let's do real quick. What do you do with the pity ploy? What do you guys think you do? It starts with the gray and ends with a rock, right? When you feel the guilt and shame and blame, especially when often if it's coming from a parent, a narcissistic parent, they're really good at it. Remember, they installed the buttons that they're pushing, right, in you. So take a step back, take a few days to process it and realize that that was manipulation and that it's not your fault or your responsibility, that you need to meet and rise to what that narcissist is asking you to meet and rise to because they are throwing a bunch of guilt at you. Um, um, yes, I meant that. You got an alert. Oh, you got that alert. Okay, yeah, I'll talk about that in just a second. So if it's happening, gray rock, go no contact. If they are hoovering you, ignore that. Ignore that. It is not an apology. It is not them coming to terms with what they've done. It is not them changing their ways. It really isn't. It isn't. I'm sorry. I wish things were different, but that is how it is. It is not that. So keep yourself at a distance from this. It's manipulation. Okay. All right. So if you have not done so, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up if you enjoy these. If you want texting notification of my going live, text me 33222. Put the word Lise Live, Lise, all one word, hit send, and I will text you about 10 minutes, usually, usually about 10 minutes prior to going live on these streams. I try to. Sometimes I don't, but I try to. And then that's it. If you need help with anything, head over to queenbeing.com where it's all the information's in the main description of every video. But just a reminder, so much info over there, so much you could go for days reading and reading, right? And watching videos. They're all over there. And if you need coaching help, I have one-to-one coaching. I have group coaching. So if you need help, individual help, it's info in the main description. If you want group help, you can email me. You can check out the links. We meet a couple times a week, and it's ongoing, so you can join anytime. But at the beginning of each month, I like to remind people a little more because it's a good time to start for some people. They like the monthly thing. And it runs for 4 weeks, and then it's renewed if you wish to renew. Anyway, you can go as long as you want or as short as you want. And it's a great group of people, very, very supportive, very kind, and very compassionate group. And we make sure it's safe. So there's that if you need it. Okay, I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Take care. Bye-bye. There we go.